Our verse today is 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 28. Therefore I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is lent to the Lord. And he worshipped the Lord there. We are well familiar with the story of Hannah, who was barren. She went to the temple in Shiloh, prayed for a child, and made a vow to God that if God gave her a child, she would offer him back to God. Hannah had a child, and she fulfilled her promise. Today's verse continues from the previous verse, 27, where Hannah returned to the temple in Shiloh. She said, "For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted me my petition that I made to him." She continues in our verse today. Our translation says, "Therefore I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is lent to the Lord." And he worshipped there. The first thing we want to consider is the word lent. It is confusing to say in English that Hannah lent her son to the Lord. It would mean that she was giving her son to God on loan. Is that what Hannah meant? There has been debate about the correct translation of the Hebrew word used in the text. The Hebrew word is from the root sha'al, which means to ask or to request, and in some forms, like the Hefil form of the verb in our verse, it could mean to lend or to give, and that is the sense in which some people translate the word lent. I prefer to use therefore, I have given to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is given to the Lord. That would be the way I would translate it. I believe this is a sense Hannah wants to express, to give the boy back to God, not to lend him, because we cannot lend God anything. Everything God has given to us ultimately belongs to God. That is the case of perfect dedication to God. Hannah is dedicating the child to God for the rest of his life, not for a period of time, but for the rest of his life. That is in fact what Samuel became. He served in the house of the Lord all his life. This understanding also goes with the last part of the verse, and he worshipped the Lord there. In other words, he remained in the temple worshiping the Lord. Samuel will be dedicated to the service of the Lord all his life. Our verse today challenges us about our dedication to what we have promised or set out to do. Hannah made a promise and fulfilled it. We make promises to our spouses, or we make religious promises and vows as priests and religious. How faithful are we to those promises and vows? We make promises to be faithful in our places of work or assigned tasks. How dedicated are we to those duties we have accepted? God expects us to do things properly and in the right way. And whenever we accept responsibilities and discharge them faithfully, we are ultimately giving due worship to God, because our lives well lived give glory and praise to God. Lord, as long as we live, may we be dedicated to your service and fulfill our promises to you as our acts of worship. Amen. God bless you. Have a lovely day.